The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I wanted to start with a story. I read an article from Rabbi Benjamin Blech, who said that when he first started in his Rabbanos, he said that somebody came over to him and asked him if he wouldn't mind going over to the home of an elderly lady in the community who really desperately wanted to speak to a rabbi. And he said, sure, of course, no problem. And he said things got busy and he wasn't able to get there so quickly. And after about 2 weeks, he realized, oh my goodness, I didn't go over to that lady's home. I forgot. Things have just been busy. And he quickly decided, he said, I gotta go. Well, it was a very cold night in December, but he said, I have to make my way over there. His wife said, come on, you could push it off till tomorrow. What's the big deal? It's freezing outside. He said, no, I have to go. And he headed over to this lady's house. And when he knocked on the door, there was a young man that answered the door. And he looked at him. He looked at Rabbi Blech, and all of a sudden this young man had this shock on his face. And he started quivering. He started shaking. And Rabbi Blech didn't know what to do, but he said, hi, is this the home of Mrs. Cohen? And he said, yeah, Mrs. Cohen is my mother. He said, come on inside. Rabbi Blech went inside the house and he saw that this young man, who was wearing a coat and hat and gloves, who was clearly headed out, he was running somewhere very quickly, all of a sudden he stepped back inside the house and he took a seat on the couch. And Rabbi Blech went over and he introduced himself to Mrs. Cohen, and he sits down at the dining room table and they begin small talk, and Mrs. Cohen is clearly waiting for her son to leave for her to be able to talk to the rabbi. But the son doesn't go anywhere. He's still sitting there on the couch. And after a number of minutes, she says, Rabbi, I really wanted to talk to you about this, not in front of my son, but apparently it seems like he's here, and it seems that that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have to say it right in front of him. She says, my grandparents were so dedicated to their Judaism and to their religious beliefs, but it seems that our heritage is going to end right here, because my son is very seriously dating a girl that's not Jewish, and he's looking to marry her, and that's going to be the end of our lineage and our Judaism. And at that point in time, the son begins to cry uncontrollably on the couch. And when he gets himself together, he says to the rabbi, yes, it's true. He says, I am dating a non-Jewish girl very seriously, and we've been talking about marriage. And her family are devout Catholics, and they said that the only way that she would be allowed to marry me is if I convert to Christianity. And tonight is December 25th. And we planned that we're going to go to Mass together at the church. And after that, we have a meeting scheduled with the priest to discuss the plans for my conversion. But then, he said, all of a sudden, as I was opening the door, and I had my hat and my gloves and my coat, and I was ready to go, he said, when I was leaving this evening, I wasn't just leaving my house. I was leaving my family, my past, and every connection that I had with the Jewish people. This was going to be my break with Judaism. And I opened the door to begin my journey into a new life. And then all of a sudden, I was stopped. I was stopped to see a rabbi. I haven't seen a rabbi since my bar mitzvah, and all of a sudden, there you were, standing right in front of me. And at the very moment that I was about to throw away my religion, it seems that God sent a rabbi to stand in my way, to stop me in my tracks and get me to rethink what's going on. And I understood at that time that this simply cannot be a coincidence. It had to be some kind of a message. And it was then that Rabbi Blech understood the boy's reaction when he first answered the door, how shaken up he was because of what took place. God made sure that the rabbi would arrive precisely at the moment that his very presence would be viewed as a sign to this young man of what's really important. And the next day, that relationship ended, and the boy wanted to thank Rabbi Blech, and Rabbi Blech told him, he said that I have very little to do with what took place over here. This was all orchestrated by God for you to get this message, for you to realize, and for you to appreciate the beauty of your heritage.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org